Notre Dame fans, welcome back to another edition of the Irish Breakdown Podcast. Whew, I'm out of breath like going upstairs. I'm Andrew. Well, that's Vince D'Addario. Vince, boy, we got a lot to talk about today.
As we normally do on a Monday, but even more so, I feel like today.
Yeah, you see me out of breath. That's one of those setups to talk for a minute so I can catch my breath. I just sprinted upstairs and downstairs. First time ever Vince has been short-winded. Big news of the day. Big news of the day. Brian Kelly announced that Kyle Hamilton, the All-American safety for Notre Dame, is already out for the matchup against North Carolina.
Big deal.
This is big news, Vince.
Like that's not saying, oh yeah, big deal. No, big deal. It's a big deal. But as Marcus Freeman, if I'm Marcus Freeman, I like the fact that I know now as opposed to it happening in the first quarter. So, at least you know how to prepare that you're not going to have 14 in the lineup. That's all I'm going to say. It still sucks.
I'm going to for Marcus Freeman, it's better to know now, but it's also better for North Carolina to know now.
Absolutely.
The reason I say that is because what's the first thing people are going to say? Well, it's no big deal because they beat North Carolina without Kyle Hamilton last year. Okay.
True.
North Carolina didn't have a week to game plan for how to attack Notre Dame without Kyle Hamilton. They had 10 minutes.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
It's going to be a little bit easier for them to sit down and say, hey, look, Kyle Hamilton is out. These are the safeties. Let's look at them. This is how we're going to attack them.
Sure.
And it's not a formidable duo. A lot of pressure on DJ Brown.
And a lot of pressure on Houston Griffith.
And Brian Kelly said today, which concerns me even more, that this automatically triggers Isaiah Pryor to be a safety.
Right.
Now,
and he played safety. He played safety
against USC.
week.
But as I have said to people a million times, do not ever judge the long-term success on what a guy does the first time he plays when no one has seen film of him at that position.
Right.
Isaiah Pryor's played 0 snaps at safety prior to the USC game. North Carolina is going to have film of what Isaiah Pryor looks like at safety. So that's a concern for me. There's a reason he moved from safety to rover.
He couldn't cover.
Despite all the depth issues they have at safety. There's a reason he stayed there. I'm concerned that you're not able to develop younger players. Xavier Watts, KJ Wallace, Justin Walters. You're going to put a guy back there that we all know cannot cover against a team that is going to throw the ball a lot. They run a lot too. Now, if they're going to do a situation, Vince, I'll say this. Here's my caveat.
I know where you're going. Yep.
If they're going to do sort of a 3-3-5 or a 4-2-5 with 5 true defensive backs on the field, and Isaiah Pryor is the third safety,
right? I
feel a little better about that. Him
because
it's
almost like a hybrid rover role. I mean, where his eyes are going to, for the most part, be in the backfield, and he's going to be coming up on run support, et cetera. Now, there's still going to be some coverage opportunities for him where we'll see what happens. But yes, I agree with you. If he's the third safety, it's probably not as bad as if he's just literally lining up in center field out there. That worries me a lot.
Yeah, so I mean, I think if you're Notre Dame, this is troubling because North Carolina now has a full game week to prepare.
Yeah,
on how to attack you without Kyle Hamilton. I think my thing that I would say is this is going to go one of two ways for Marcus Freeman as far as his game plan and preparation. One is, hey, look, let's definitely play a bend but don't break. Look, we're going to see a repeat of USC, but more,
right?
Because we have to limit the big plays because Sam Howell is the best deep ball thrower in college football, in my opinion. Both from he throws a pretty deep ball and the success. I mean, he's hit more. I think I saw a Pro Football Focus stat. He's hit significantly more balls that have traveled 20, 30 yards down the past line of scrimmage than anyone in college football by a lot.
Yeah.
So there's two schools of thought. One is play off and don't let him take those shots and then trust that your 3-4 down is good enough to get to him before then. Yep. Or 2, be aggressive. Go 4 down, attack. Don't give him those shots. The danger there, however, again, that I don't want to spin that since that's my preferred method of attack. That's just what I like. I don't want to spin that and make it sound like that's the best way because The danger there is the more guys you bring on pressure, the less you have over top. You don't have to do a full 5-step gather throw to hit deep when you're bringing more guys, because somebody's going to be in man coverage. He can catch, hit, and throw it. And now you have your great eraser on the back end of the defense is now gone. That puts Marcus Freeman in a genuinely tough spot to be at this point in time.
I agree. And I'm interested to see how he compensates, because when you are in the middle of a game and something happens, it's like triage. You throw some stuff at it and you hope it sticks, and you try to live to, see another day, which they did. Now you've got some time to plan, and you've got some time to maybe see some guys in some different roles during practice. And I guess I'm going to be the glass, the cup is half full guy. And I'm going to hope that this is going to allow Marcus Freeman to be a little bit more creative and not just put a guy in Kyle's spot.
I don't think it's about glass half full or glass half empty. It's just about, here's the analysis and here's the option. I don't really care to be glass half full or glass half empty. It's just, here's the situation. And
I think I'm more referring to the people in the chat,
Yeah.
But look, this is an opportunity for guys to step up. Right. And it's an opportunity for Marcus Freeman to throw a little bit of something else at a team. And so, we'll see what happens. Now, would I have liked it if it was happening against Navy as opposed to North Carolina? Yeah, absolutely. But this is what it is, man. And here we are. So this is obviously something we're going to be keeping an eye on. It's probably going to be one of the keys to the game. It's going to be one of the matchups. This is going to be important to the success of Notre Dame's defense. No question.
Yeah, no question. And again, this is one of those times when it's one thing to say, okay, whoever's going to replace Kyle Hamilton has to step up. At this point in time, it goes beyond that. This is also about, okay, it's time for other guys to step up. Hey, Houston, you're not replacing Kyle, but now you're the veteran. You're the guy. We need you to step up. Need you to play better.
Yep.
Hey, Cam, we need you to have a big game. Hey, Clarence, you got to do this. Hey, Isaiah Foskey, buddy, we need you to be Lawrence Taylor this week. I mean, you don't say that specifically, but you get hey, Myron, time the ball. Hey, Jason Adamiola, this is a money game for you. I mean, that's kind of what – and it's sort of that backup quarterback syndrome that I've talked about on offense. For decades, people fall in love with the backup quarterback because he comes in, you're like, man, just the offense just clicks so well with that guy.
Right.
Well, a lot of times, and then you see it in the NFL and you see it in college football where, people say, oh, you got to get rid of Spencer Rattler because the offense doesn't click, play Caleb Williams. Well, then Caleb Williams comes out and they don't score a point in the first half against Kansas and struggle to beat Kansas. Well, had the same thing happen to Spencer Rattler, people would have lost their minds and booed him and all this. But with Caleb Williams, well, it's okay because he's the backup quarterback, right? He's the shiny toy. But that's one scenario. The other scenario is a guy's not as good as Caleb Williams. You put him in, he moves the offense, things look great because the other team has no film on him. They don't know what calls you're going to make with him, all these other things. In the NFL, we see this all the time where, that guy goes out and gets a huge contract from the NFL and to be a starting quarterback somewhere, and lo and behold, they find out quickly, oh, that's why he was a backup quarterback for that other team. But what happens in that moment for that game or two, that he's in there, people rally. Hey, I got to pick up my game because our quarterback's out.
Absolutely.
That's what's got to happen this week on defense. Hey, Kyle's out. So Jason Adamiola, you got to up your game. Isaiah, you got to up your game. Myron, Kurt, Drew, JD, Kaiser, Pryor, Houston, Clarence. I mean, just Cam, DJ, Xavier Watts. Hey, man, you're going to get some reps this week, baby. Go make some plays. Force me to put you on the field. And hopefully if he does do that, they still play him. Because, hey, we've known instances where guys have played great in practice and the coaches still don't play him. I don't know what Marcus Freeman's track record is on that, so I'm not going to assume he's going to do that.
Right.
But that's what's got to happen. It's not just about the replacement for – because here's the deal. If you beat me off the ball – and I get beat as a safety, but the quarterback's laying on his backside, a lot less chance I'm going to get burned, right? So, if Drew White makes a couple tackles for loss, J.D. Bertrand makes a couple tackles for loss on second down, and now I know that you're going to throw, I'm going to say for prediction, right? So it's going to have to be a great team defense this week. Agreed. Ultimately, that's the best way to overcome it. It's not Marcus Freeman's game plan. It's not the person who replaces Kyle has to play like Kyle. It's the 10 guys around that guy have to step their game up, be locked in, and say, hey, we got you. If DJ Brown's that guy, if it's Pryor, if it's Xavier Watts, hey, buddy, you do your job. You're not Kyle. Don't worry about trying to beat Kyle. You do your job. We're going to pick you up. And that's what great teams do. I mean, we saw that last year with Alabama, right? I mean, Alabama loses Landon Dickerson in the SEC title game. The rest of the line said, hey, don't worry about it, Chris Young. We got you, right? You just go out and play your game, and we got your back. And, and they play great and win the title. That's what Nerds have to do for at least this week. I would, we'll talk about this next week, but I would strongly consider not playing him next week, even if he's healthy, against that Navy chop, those cuts.
And there's no point. I mean,
there's a point because he could make 25 tackles.
But
his rangy safety in the middle of the field can make a lot. I mean, there's a point in that regards that he could have a great game and you could win.
Sure.
But you don't need Kyle Hamilton to beat Navy. And if you do, you got a much bigger problem as a football team.
You don't need him to beat Navy, and you don't need he doesn't need the Navy game to boost his draft stock. That kind of
Great
stuff.
Point.
It's not from both angles. I don't think it's even necessary. Make sure he's 100%.
Right.
That
you're going to need him to beat Virginia.
If he's not good enough to play versus not good enough. That's not what I meant. If he's not 100%, health-wise to play against North Carolina, where you need him to play, then don't play him against Navy.
Because the two biggest games they need him for this year are this one and Virginia for the remaining schedule.
Because you needed him last week too.
We're talking about the remaining schedule,
right? Yes,
you needed him against Cincinnati. You needed him against Wisconsin. I'm talking about moving forward. The two games you need him for left on your schedule are those two games.
Yes.
So you're not going to have for North Carolina. You got to make sure you do everything in your power to make sure he's ready for Virginia.
Right.
That's going to be the key. That's going to 100% be the key.
Agreed.
Got a couple super chats here real quick. JP Buellsfeld, my man. I challenge everyone in IB Nation to support Bryan and Vince so they can continue to keep Irish Breakdown going. I'm going to super chat every time I watch the show live. JP, I appreciate that.
You're the man.
Very, very, very much. And of course, I concur with that thought process.
Right.
And of course, we've got some big things coming down the pike, some things I'm working on behind the scenes that I'm very excited about that we're already making moves on. I'm going to put something on the message board probably later tonight. I was going to put it up the other day, but I didn't have time to get to it. I'm going to put that up about just some things that I'm working on next here at Irish Breakdown that we're very excited about.
That's all I'll say. It's exciting. That's, fun stuff.
We also have a super chat from Preston Laypath, who I had a chance to meet, Presley Laypath, who I had a chance to meet this weekend at the tailgate, which I appreciated. He said, sorry if I missed it, but is there any news on Tyree status? It sounded to me, Vince, like he was saying Chris Tyree should be fine, should be good to go.
It's a hopeful, it was him. There was a couple of guys that they were hopeful they're going to get back on this Saturday. It was Tyree, and who else was it? It was a couple of names. I can't remember who it was, but
I didn't write them down. I was too busy talking about Kyle Hamilton. But
no, it
sounded to me like they're going to have a good, clean bill of health, other than the guys who have already like Blake Fisher's out, and I think Kevin Bauman is still out, and those kind of things. But and I also want to respond to something else. People responding to something that we said. And I have two people say this. Searcher Green said it. I wouldn't sleep on Navy. Daniel Wade said you can never sleep on Navy. Navy's 1-6.
Right.
Okay. I'm going to sleep on Navy. If you get beat by Navy, it's not because of Navy. It's because you didn't play. It's not. And no one is saying you go out and you take the week off as a team against Navy, but you don't put your 6'4" All-American safety in the game against a team that wants to cut block and chop and cut downfield like Navy does. And if you can't beat Navy without Kyle Hamilton, you have a huge problem on your football program. And you can again. They lost. They're 1-6.
Right. They hung with Cincinnati for a while, but then Cincinnati.
Yes. And Cincinnati played like crap.
Yeah, terrible.
And beat them. Okay. Navy is awful.
Yeah,
they lost to Marshall by 42. They lost to Air Force by 20. Okay. If Notre Dame can't beat Navy without Kyle Hamilton, then Notre Dame has a huge, huge problem as a program.
Right.
Okay. So this isn't about sleeping on Navy. It's about if you can't beat Navy without Kyle Hamilton, then your program's not very strong. Right. And Notre Dame's program is strong. They can beat They can beat Navy without Kyle Hamilton, and they will beat Navy though. With hopefully they'll beat Navy without Kyle Hamilton. Meaning, I hope he doesn't play.
Right.
Because I just don't want, like you said. I think you nailed it, Vince. I didn't even think about it from this regards. There's nothing he's going to gain for his future by playing against Navy.
Right.
Now, if Navy was 6-1 and this was a Malcolm Perry or a Keenan Reynolds led Navy team, maybe you might have to make a tougher decision. But if you can't, if the guys you have at safety aren't good enough to beat Navy,
right? Yep.
Then you have then there's a huge problem. Huge problem.
Yeah.
So anyway, so
the
look
three
what
guys
Kansas did to Oklahoma. You mean
that's
losing by double digits?
Yeah, exactly.
Guys, if you're going to point an example of a team that lost to a team like that, okay? So if Kyle doesn't play, Notre Dame only wins by 12, okay, I'll take that versus Kyle Hamilton getting chop blocked on the second level when he's flying downhill
for the season.
And he's out for the year, and now his draft status is up in the air. Again, if you can't beat Navy without Kyle Hamilton, then you're not a very good football team. I'm sorry. You're just not. So you guys can keep talking about that. You can have this paranoia about the triple option. I mean, I've seen all types of triple option paranoias. Well, you lose every game after you play the triple option. Yeah, when Notre Dame was an average program, that happened. Now that they've been good the last 5 years, that's not happening anymore. Why? It's not because the triple options changed. It's because you were losing because you stunk, not because – or you were not a healthy program, not because of something the triple option does. So anyway –